You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. Let's talk about what happened in Syracuse, where a police officer, Chris Buske, arrested, y'all, this is a trip, arrested Shaolin Moore for playing loud music. Now, remember, we've heard this before. Remember, Jordan Davis was shot and killed by a white man in Florida for playing loud music. That white man is in prison for life. Jordan Davis's mama is now Congresswoman Lucy McBath. But we're going to play the video for y'all of this cop acting a fool because of loud music.
Take it as a form of arrest.
Hey, he's telling the truth, man. If you got nothing on you, get out of the car.
I don't got nothing on me, but get the fuck out of the car, else you're getting sprayed.
Why he doing all that? Why he doing all that? Why he doing all that? He not resisting or nothing. Why he doing all that? Why he doing all that? Yo, why you punching my man?
Hey, what's the deal with this guy?
Yup, I'm on you. I ain't.
Fucking move.
Look, they bugging for nothing. Look.
Don't you move.
I ain't resisting or nothing.
Shut it down.
What's going? Why y'all doing all that? Why y'all doing all that? Why y'all putting me in handcuffs and stuff?
Yeah, now here's what's crazy. So Moore was pulled out of his vehicle because the cop wanted to search the vehicle. And he said no. So then the cop pulled him out. So now we get to search vehicles because the music too loud?
But proceeding,
wait, what are you looking for? An iPod?
But preceding that, he was so disrespectful and dehumanizing and treating him like and beating. This goes beyond these issues. There's some white people who are really, really angry in this society about the presence of black people. And black people are being killed and harassed and murdered and traumatized because these people have issues. We need to look at how people get to treat people as well. Not just shoot them, which is, of course, horrible, but that all this cussing, and these are grown people they're talking to like this.
But this is, I mean, and again, the young man did what he was supposed to do, which is, no, you don't get the right to search my vehicle. That is a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. And I tell anybody, do not let them make them get a warrant. But in more than that, these noise ordinances are about policing black people, whether it's Reverend Barber in North Carolina saying he's making too much noise or he's playing his music too loud. Because remember, there was a woman in Garner, North Carolina, who had her family pulled out of the house because she was playing Malcolm X speeches at a tone and at a volume that her neighbors didn't appreciate. And this is like 8 officers show up at her house. So there's all of these efforts to police black people just being in the world.
So let me read this statement from Syracuse Police Chief Kenton Bucker. Here we go to my iPad. Consistent with the Syracuse Police Department use of force protocol, the incident that occurred on Grace and Oswego Streets on Friday night was immediately reported to the department following the incident. The case was already under review before the video was posted online. I recognize the concerns that have been raised by the community, and I want to ensure the community that under department protocol, when officers use force, including this time, we complete a thorough investigation. The vehicle was pulled over because of a violation of the city's sound reproduction ordinance, a quality of life issue frequently reported to the department for action. Importantly, it occurred immediately following a coordinated police response to Skiddy Park, where individuals were involved in the sale of illegal substances and an unlawfully possessed handgun was recovered. Officers heard the noise from the vehicle as they were concluding the drug and weapons investigation at the park. The vehicle was stopped a few blocks from the park. I want y'all to put a pin in that because I want you to remember that. I'm going to come back to that. The incident is under active review, which will occur on a timely basis. The officers continue to be in service and will be interviewed as part of the review. Let me unpack that. This is the cute job cops always play. So here you have the police chief talking about where the officers came from. At no point in this does it say that Shaolin Moore and the guy riding with him were selling drugs. But he is trying to link the two together. Okay, for instance, go back to my iPad, where individuals were involved in the sale of illegal substances and an unlawfully possessed handgun was recovered. There's no need to link those two if Moore and his friend were actually not in the park. This is the police chief trying to connect drug sales and a legal possession of a handgun with this arrest by saying, oh, and I love this here. The car officers heard the noise from the vehicle as they were concluding the vehicle was stopped a few blocks from the park. So why in the hell are we discussing the park? If the vehicle was stopped a few blocks from the park, why are we discussing the park? That's the game they play by trying to connect black folks to drug selling as well as an illegal handgun. That's what's going on here.
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, there is a New York City study that looked at 700,000 traffic stops, or actually just people kind of being stopped and frisked. And what it found was that African Americans were significantly more likely to be stopped relative to whites, but blacks were actually less likely to have something on them. How successful were officers in predicting whether or not someone would have something? They were only 2% successful. So this particular incident plays a role in that. The other thing I think about is being pulled over as a teenager with my windows rolled down and my music playing, and I got pulled over by an officer. I think about my wife who was pulled over after leaving the hospital, taking care of babies, taking care of sick people, and she got pulled over for her music. The ironic thing is that her speakers were actually blown out. So see, part of this is simply a cover in order to be able to pull people over. I think the other thing is it relates to community oversight committees. Everyone wants community oversight committees. The problem with those, though, is that we actually need a person from those community oversight committees to actually be on the actual review board in the police department. So the one thing that stood out to me, in addition to what you highlighted, Roland, was the fact that the chief said that this is under review. Yes, it's under review internally by police officers actually aiming to police and hold other police officers accountable. What we need is for people from the community review board to not review these cases after there's already a decision made, but they actually need to weigh in on these as a voting party on the actual committee in the police department. And I think part of this is people have to continue to record these particular incidents. I mean, in this regard, we're simply in MLK's collection of facts, right? We're just in the first step of the nonviolent campaign.
Well,
in this
first of all,
movement
here's the
Black
other
Lives.
piece, though. What did the passenger do?
Nothing. And honestly,
So
nothing.
he's under arrest?
Yes.
Because he said, stop recording.
Because he's a witness to what's happening. Honestly, what you read from that police officer, that chief of police, actually is very reminiscent of stories they used to tell about black men after they lynched them. This sounded like the setup to a murder to me.
Right.
Because dead men
right.
tell no tales. So they were already deciding what the story was going to be, which these young men were at this park, were selling drugs, and therefore they are criminals and they deserve to be mistreated, mishandled, and anything else that came after that. I'm just glad that these young men get to go home tonight.
Now y'all understand why black people got mental health issues.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Hey, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a lot of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. They're on fire. And certainly a lot of you missed it. Now you have an opportunity. Now they have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not even better, than the last. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that. Congress made it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants, and this makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords. You can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Like I said, you don't want to miss out. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.